This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland. Hello, you're listening to Swiss and Chips. I'm Jo.
And I'm Simon.
And today we thought we'd talk about when to shake hands in Switzerland.
Hello.
In particular because at the moment there's a total handshaking crisis that has broken out across Switzerland due to the C word, coronavirus.
Exactly. No handshaking allowed.
And you can see the trouble that it's causing everywhere. Swiss people are holding out hands, bringing them back, going, oh my God, we can't shake hands. What are we going to do?
Yeah, there was the big scandal when Alain Berset, the
Interior Minister?
Yes, he said public on TV, we have new guidelines from the Bundesamt für Gesundheit.
The Office of Public Health.
Exactly. And he said, no handshaking allowed anymore. And then like in the afternoon or someone came to visit him and there was a photo with him shaking hands.
Oh no, you just can't help it. That's the thing.
But the next day he made a joke and press conference and said, I know it's quite difficult of my own experience. So there was a big laughter.
Yeah. And basically it's just made me think a lot about how important shaking hands is in Switzerland, because now you can see the panic on people's faces when they can't. And it's made me wonder, are these all the situations where I should have been shaking hands but haven't been? And, what am I supposed to do, basically?
Yes, exactly. And even only in these last very few days, like 2-3 days, I experienced myself at least like 4 times when I, spread my hand out to someone and quickly took it back again.
Whoa. And then you just kind of waved.
Yeah.
So I think one of the kind of important questions that people soon pick up on in Switzerland is there's a lot of handshaking and going on, but there's also a lot of kisses going on when you're meeting people.
Yeah, that sounded a bit like saucy.
Yeah, it did. We should say polite kissing.
Yeah.
These
on the cheek things.
A kiss on the cheek 3 times is quite common in Switzerland. Occasionally 2, but maybe we'll come back to that in another episode. Someone
wrote in, I think in our Facebook group or in an email, I can't remember, and I also don't remember who it was, so I'm sorry that I have forgot about your name, but she or he wrote to us and said, this podcast should be called the Guide to German-Speaking Switzerland, and this is another example where I think it's true, because I grew up in the German-speaking part, and we live here, and it's quite big differences, especially to the French-speaking part and the Italian-speaking part, and also differences to if you live in the mountain or in the city. Mm-hmm. But we try to give you a general, overview.
Exactly.
Although I don't know in detail, for example, how is it in, Geneva.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first of all, when is a must-do for shaking hands? I'll give you my list and you can tell me if I'm way off.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, it's a must to shake hands when you're being introduced for the first time, regardless of who it is, business meetings, perhaps you already know the person,
yep.
Greeting someone important, but maybe not too important like the Queen or whatever, and saying goodbye after a business meeting.
Yes.
Over to you. Am I right, or am I a fool?
Yeah, basically, it's quite hard to explain. Yes, it's true. All of that is true. But for example, a business meeting internally with your colleagues, you wouldn't greet them with shaking hands.
No, I should
it's
say
really like
external.
More an officially thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the more official it gets, the more you will shake hands. And also, off work, you would shake hands. It's really like a bit more than just saying hi.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there is this big thing. It's your first impression, so you want to make a good impression, basically. And especially on interviews, it's quite a big deal, because how do you shake hands and how hard do you press and for how long? So basically, the rule is, if your hand is sweaty because you're nervous, try to dry it a little bit, so no one can see, just right before, on your trousers or something, and then hope for the best. Don't press too hard, that can be a bit aggressive, but also don't press not at all. So just normal, I would say, and always look into the opposite's eyes. That's very important. Mm-hmm. And it's like 1 second or 1-2 seconds. Not like, don't shake hands like Macron with Trump, like for 2 minutes and don't let the person go.
Don't ever do that.
Yeah.
So we've referred to this book a few times before, the Schweizer Knigge, right?
Yes.
It sounds weird, but it's basically the kind of do's and don'ts of Swiss society. It's quite funny. It's written in German, but, with Google Translate, you can read it quite easily.
Yeah, maybe it exists also in other languages. I don't know.
And in there, what did they say? There was a good point, but now I've completely forgotten it about what they said about shaking hands. You keep talking.
Okay, well, basically, and another rule I think is as well, if you're a man, then don't force women to, shake hands or kiss. Maybe you wait a tiny bit till, they come towards you and they,
Yes, that's what they said in the book, that basically you're waiting for the woman to offer her hand, which I think is... I'd never thought about that before. Do you think everybody knows that? Is that a kind of agreed rule?
No, it's not. But... it really depends where, because there are many situations where you just greet with a handshake. Like in meetings, you will not wait because that's friendly to go and say like hello and shake hands. But maybe private on a private party or something, you wait a tiny bit till the woman makes the first step because she doesn't want to kiss or shake hand.
Yeah. Now this creates quite a funny dynamic because me not really understanding exactly when all the handshaking is going on, my rule of thumb is see what everybody else does.
Yes, that's a
so
good
if I'm following that rule,
advice.
but the men in the room are following the other rule, then that means I'm not shaking hands with anyone, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But
kind of
usually it's not like that.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Good. And I think the other end of the scale is when you should not shake hands. Obviously, we've got the corona situation right now, so no one should be shaking hands.
Yes.
And the things you can do instead are quite fun, actually, like the elbow shake.
Well, you can. I mean, that's more a fun thing because people, they're a bit scared and others are worried and others just think, oh, whatever this is. And it's also, a way that Swiss people take out the tension of the situation, I guess. And they just, bump their elbows.
Yeah, the elbow bump.
Or...
I haven't done a foot shake with anyone, but I'd quite like to.
And at school, because the children, they greet their teachers with a handshake.
In the morning?
Yeah. And so they're not allowed anymore. And in many schools, they do now Japanese.
Like a bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very elegant.
Yeah. But that's really temporary. And, I think the normal thing to do at the moment is just not shake hands and say hi. That's it.
Yeah, and just kind of go, oh my God, we can't shake hands at the moment.
Yeah. I made 2 fist bumps in the last 3 days, but I'm also not sure if that's,
I have to say, a couple of months ago, before we had this coronavirus problem, I actually had an unexpected fist bump with someone from the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland. It's quite funny because we spent the day together doing some things. And then when we said goodbye, he was older than me from an Italian-speaking part. And there was kind of no hesitation. He just went, see you later kind of thing, fist bump. And I was... wow, okay, cool.
So I think that's the normal way to go. Just wait till someone makes something if you're not sure.
Yeah, like it. So that's the exceptional avoidance of shaking hands.
Yep.
But I think there are some other situations, and we're getting more into the nitty gritty of like layers of social hierarchies and so on when you don't want to shake hands with someone. And I would try to avoid shaking hands with someone I think I've met before, but I'm not sure.
How come?
Because, if you go like, hi, I'm Joe, and, go to shake hands with someone, sometimes that person is saying we've met before, and then they're making like a kind of, ugh, you are so annoying type face while shaking your hand.
Oh, okay. Well, you can go and shake hand and don't say like, hey, I'm Joe, and just wait till someone says something, like... shake hands and hello, and then
shake hands silently.
Oh, hey, I'm blah blah blah. Then you can say, oh yeah, and I'm Joe.
Yeah, good. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat while doing that. Chuckle.
No, but I think also it's also a bit of a hierarchy thing, I guess. If you meet maybe the highest of the highest people of Switzerland, then you wait till they shake hand.
Yeah,
and you don't go to them and You can, but yeah.
And I was talking to someone about this recently, and they said to me they think that shaking hands is something that some people do because they want to be seen as important. And I thought that was quite an interesting dynamic.
That's true. I would agree. There's no sign. maybe I should say there's no science behind it, and I'm just
True.
answering out of my,
gut feeling.
Yeah. So, but could be.
Good. Okay. Anything else you want to say on the handshaking front? Is there some secret that you haven't told me yet?
Yes.
Good. Thanks.
So, also, I think there is no clear rule. And we had this episode like 1 or 2 episodes ago where we spoke about Swiss rules, and I think that's a very typical Swiss rule where there is no clear rule and you can't go wrong really, and there will always be embarrassing moments in Switzerland
because people don't seem to completely agree. There are some obvious cases where everyone is doing the same thing, but it's those grey areas, and that's the problem.
Yes, and also, like I said at the beginning, some people come from the French-speaking parts, other people come from the Italian-speaking parts, or me, I come from like mountains, and others come from cities, and for everyone it's different. And then it's obvious it will always be confusing, or some people will have a different understanding. So I think the secret rule is that there will always be embarrassing situations. Not very often, but sometimes where you go and you kiss like 3 times, but the other person thought, oh, we do only 2. Or, or you shake hands, but then they want to kiss, or the opposite round.
And then your hand is sort of stuck in the middle. That's really the worst.
Yeah, so
that's
everything can happen. And by the way, there is also things happening like how to do the handshake, like the normal handshake, or like with when you're, do like the...
Putting your hand up and your palms together. Oh, secret handshake. We're practicing it here in the homemade studio.
Yeah, this one. How do you
it's when you sort of grab the other person's thumb.
Yeah, exactly. So, the like cool thing. So
Heaven forbid the day someone does that.
That can also happen that, one does that and the other one does the normal one, and then you hold each other's hand extremely awkwardly. That's just, these things just happen.
Feeling like the most uncool person in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So,
brilliant.
That also happens to Swiss people, and this is a clear Swiss rule where you don't need to think about it. Don't overthink it. Just go for it. Maybe look a little bit what other people are doing and hope for the best, basically. But, if it's embarrassing, everyone has been in that situation and no one cares really,
Great. It's kind of like a Swiss rite of passage, I guess.
Yeah, don't really worry about it. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about it.
Get out there and bump fists, elbows, feet, and shake hands in a couple of months' time.
Yeah. Oh, the only important situation is maybe... Oh, or is that also special that we shake hands with doctors, for example?
Yes.
Not always, but that can happen as well.
I'm raising my eyebrows now.
But, I would also I would just wait if they... shake hands. But sometimes when you meet them for the first time, or like a dentist or something, they will say, hello, I'm blah, blah, blah. So,
right, they do shake hands, actually. I'd forgotten about that.
So sometimes,
how interesting.
It's not always, but quite often they do, yeah. It's just a polite way to say hello.
Okay.
But there you can clearly wait, and if you see a hand, I recommend to grab it, or otherwise you will put the other person in that embarrassing situation.
Yeah,
so.
And once you've been there, you never want to be there again.
Exactly. So, where was I?
That was the secret rules that I haven't mentioned.
Yeah. I now I remember what I wanted to say. There's basically only like 2 situations where you really should shake hands, and where it's like kind of important, and that is definitely when you go to an interview. Then if you meet the person that is interviewing you, definitely shake hands. Grab the hand, self-confident, but not like squeeze it, and look the person in the eye and say hello in a polite way. So because you want to make a good impression then.
Okay, good.
Otherwise, hope for the best.
Okay.
Good luck. Good luck out there.
Yeah, and let us know what happened. I'd love to hear your embarrassing handshaking stories. Cool. And if you have had an embarrassing handshaking situation, or you think you know more secret rules about it than we do, then please let us know. And you could share that with us in our Facebook group.
Yeah, don't share your embarrassing situations.
Yes,
keep it for you.
Share. The Facebook group is called Switzerland for English Speakers, and I'm sure loads of other people will weigh in with their stories there as well.
Exactly. And thanks to everyone who is listening and is already in the group. It's really nice, and loads of comments. People help each other. People meet each other. And we are really proud and really happy about that group. And it's only thanks to you.
Yes, we're shaking your hands virtually right now.
Yeah, fist bump. No, like
we're elbow bumping
things.
you. Okay, cool. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.